This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And with 2010 almost wrapping up here, you might be thinking to yourself, I'd love to give you like one more trip into Walt Disney World. Just one more. Maybe it's, to get a little extra value out of that annual pass. Maybe it's to just get another trip in. Like, we really need an excuse, right, to get down to Walt Disney World. Well, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan that trip for you. They can be your assistants in helping you figure out what's going to be that best deal to get you down here one more time before New Year's. Yeah, it's almost New Year's. So check them out. Go to www.mousefantravel.com.
Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Wednesday, November 10th, 2010, and this is episode 797 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World, which is online at touringplans.com. Welcome to the show, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding, of course.
I'm getting ready once again to deep fry a turkey this year for Thanksgiving. If anyone notices a small mushroom cloud over central North Carolina and happens to have a fire extinguisher suitable for grease fires handy.
There's always one guy every year who lights his house on fire because
Exactly.
he doesn't understand that you have to thaw out your turkey before you put it in the deep fryer.
It's always a series of mistakes, right? So he's like he's deep frying in his garage,
In the garage. Yep.
next to the lawnmower with the gas can, putting the completely frozen, unthawed turkey in, with a wire hanger from his coat closet.
It never fails. Check your local news. The night of Thanksgiving, there'll be some guy who did it. Also joining us on today's show is that guy, Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Len, I would love to come over and videotape that you doing this.
I actually have pictures of me doing it in years past. It's much safer now. I've got like a hazmat suit that I wear when I put it in, and it's actually completely safe.
It looks like a beekeeper.
For me, it's completely safe. Anyway.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Well, I know you're a small group, but for the next couple of scenes, you will have to represent for me the entire population of Cairo.
Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
Very right.
Very nice. Well, it's... I can almost hear it now. It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions, and we'll start out with a question from Josh Quillen of themeparktalk.com.
Sorry, I'm still humming. Gotta finish the song.
We had, I think, a listener question show or two ago about our worst attractions. And Josh writes, okay, my experience at Walt Disney World was very limited, but here are the attractions I think have been the worst. Sounds Dangerous, the Studio Tour, and the Living Seas. I don't know.
Oh.
The Living Seas?
I disagree on the Living Seas.
Dude,
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude. True story. I almost met Josh in Disneyland last week, but our schedules didn't sync up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Living Seas, dude. I don't know about that. I mean, those hydrolators, the way they moved up and down,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the way that they moved you through the water
Yeah.
seamlessly. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
Unbelievable technology that man was not meant to understand.
Try to imagine.
Clearly, from the four of us, that's a representative sample of.
Did you remember from 2001 Space Odyssey, the monolith came down and it was transported in what? Yeah, a hydrolator.
Exactly.
And the monkeys were like, my God, we have to create civilization from this.
Man was not yet meant to understand. We're the representative sample of mankind. That's it right there.
Exactly. Nice. Next email is from Tom Reck of New Hope, Minnesota. Love the show and all that butt kissing.
Well, hold on. You know what's funny? Hold on.
Yeah.
New Hope, Minnesota, meaning that there was a place called Hope, but people gave up on it. And they moved to New Hope. New Hope. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So
I'm sorry. I got to get out of here. Let's go invent a place called New Hope. Go ahead.
the subject of this email, by the way, was no hand-holding unless you want to. And Tom writes, the no hand-holding part is in reference to Scopa's comment or question to my email, I think 2 listener shows ago, about the inaugural Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon weekend. I know you were just joking, but just wanted to know that I wasn't looking to hold your hand during the race or to skip across the finish.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. No.
Just looking to see if you guys were thinking about doing anything special event-wise during that weekend. The comments made me laugh, but if you were looking for that, I'm sure my wife would be willing. So here's my real question or questions for this email. If my wife and I buy annual passes today or soon, are they effective that day, or are they effective the first day we arrive to use them? Like, if we buy them today and we don't use them until our next trip to Walt Disney World, when does our year start, or the 15 months if that's still available?
It depends on where you buy them, from where you buy them. If you buy them from the Disney store, it's a voucher, right?
Right.
And so it's not good until you actually get there and turn it into an admission pass. But if you buy it in Walt Disney World, it's good from that day.
Yeah. I've bought them before, and I remember I got a voucher. I've never bought one where it was activated that day. I got a voucher, and then I had to go, I went to the ticket counter and, handed it in and got a ticket for it. But it's generally good from the first day you use it. So,
yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Tom. Next email is from Damian Rickard of Norwich, Connecticut. Hi, everyone. Loving the podcast and counting the days until warmer weather and my trip. My question has to do with changing resorts during a vacation. I've heard you mention it a few times during the show, such as staying at a value for a few days and then switching to deluxe for the remainder of the trip. I'm seriously considering this for our 4-week trip in November, as the majority of our party will only be staying for a week at Wilderness Lodge, and we'll be staying for 10 days, and really wanted to stay at the Polynesian. I was considering staying for 5 days at Wilderness Lodge and then transferring to the Poly for the other 5 nights. Mm-hmm. Can you provide some insight on how this works? Advantages, disadvantages? How do I transfer luggage? Horror stories, good stories? Does this mess with ADRs? What's the deal with 2 reservations, one on for each resort? Any help is appreciated.
We have the king of changing resorts on the show.
Yeah, that's true.
Testa.
Yeah. So there's no problems with ADRs. It kind of screws up your plans a little bit if you've got the Disney dining plan, because then you've got 2 stays.
Right.
And you've got to check in and check out. And you have to finish all of your meals on 1 stay before you, or otherwise you'll lose them. But in terms of getting around, just tell the Bell Services group at your first hotel at the Wilderness Lodge that you're transferring to the Poly. Give them, all day to get your luggage over there, and they will. I've only once had a problem with that in all the dozens and dozens of times that I've transferred luggage within Walt Disney World. You shouldn't have any trouble there at all.
Yeah, I've done it before also. Just make sure you do it in the morning when you're checking out of your old resort.
Yeah, give them in the morning.
Yeah, and just as long as you're okay with the fact, don't do that and then expect to be back in your new room at the Poly at 12 and your luggage necessarily be there. It could be, but more, you need to give them pretty much like Len said, the entire day.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be there by 7 or 8 o'clock, p.m. And that's fine. It doesn't mess up your ADRs. It doesn't screw up anything else in terms of bookings or the system. I do it. I try and switch resorts every night, and it's really no problem there. It's really hard to get the dining plan on that, but other than that, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and of course, if you're renting a car, it's probably better just to bring your own luggage with you. It'll just be faster and more convenient. But there is that service available that they will transfer your luggage for you for free. Yeah. And it's a nice little perk there. So
yeah, it is. It's nice. Yeah, it saves you the hassle of having to haul it around yourself, especially if you don't have a car. That's a pain.
Next email is from Mark from O'Fallon, Illinois. He writes, during a recent podcast, a listener asked if the height requirement is 40 inches with shoes or without. The answer is with shoes. Before our August trip, I measured our almost 4-year-old and found he was a little taller than 39.5 inches. He was just shy of 40 inches with any pair of shoes we had in the house. So I took him to Payless to buy his Disney shoes, quote unquote. We found a pair of tennis shoes that made him 40 and 1/4 inches tall, and took those to Walt Disney World. They must not have been too comfortable because he didn't like wearing them out before each big ride. He'd put them on. One time in front of Star Tours, I realized he wasn't in his Disney shoes as the cast members came to measure him. We put on his Disney shoes right there in front of her. She measured him, even gave him a wink with the knowledge of what we had done. Didn't seem to matter to her. So the height requirement is 40 inches with your, quote, Disney shoes on.
Yep. Which is interesting because depending on the kind of shoe that you're wearing, you could have a heel of, up to about an inch or so on there. So from a ride safety perspective, they must be measuring the average size of like a torso or something, not the and they're just using the height as a proxy for that measurement because it's hard to measure torso.
Right.
That's the only thing I could think.
Just a good question for Newell. It's from Angela Russo of Valley Stream, New York. And she writes, love the podcast. You are all entertaining, informative, and give me my Disney fix between trips. You also make my visits to the treadmill bearable too.
Wow.
Here's my question, though.
That's saying something. Go ahead.
Though I know Animal Kingdom really isn't your cup of tea, or maybe I should say margarita, I love the area music that's played at Camp Mini Mickey, the guitar versions of classic Disney tunes. Do you have any idea what the artist or group who plays that music?
No, I no.
I don't know if I remember the music offhand.
Crosby,
I have that in
Stills, Nash and
iTunes.
Young.
Hold on.
I'd have to look that up.
Neil Young. Steve Vai.
Who's the guy who sung the Thinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Oh,
Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot. It was him.
Gordon Lightfoot, yeah. That is the most depressing song I've ever heard. That and Life in a Northern Town by Dream Academy. Dear God,
That's a great song.
if those two things ever played consecutively, I'd want to drive the car off the road.
The Salvation Army band plays.
I know. Tell me that there's nothing uplifting in that song at all. It just makes me want to hang myself. I swear to God.
Personally, I'm a big fan of Big Country.
In a big country, dreams stay with you.
Like a lotus on the mountain.
Okay, speaking of music, Newell, I know you're a huge Rush fan. What's your thoughts on Free Will?
Well, if you choose a ready guide,
If you choose not to decide.
you still have made a choice. What do you mean? What are my thoughts on?
I don't know. I love their music generally, but that song bothers me in the worst way.
There are those who think that life is nothing left to chance, or something.
It's a song about self-determination. There's nothing wrong with it.
It seems like a song that you would sing in like Sunday school.
No, probably the exact opposite. But
I was going to say, really?
Kick you out for, but whatever. It's cool too.
All right, Matt. I think that music comes from a CD called Popping Guitars, and the name of the artist is the first name is ELTJO, and the last name is Hasselhoff.
Oh, it's David's brother.
Yeah.
Ilto. Yeah, he's big into
Hasselhoff.
too.
That would be my guess. I may be wrong, but I think it's from a CD called Popping Guitars.
Okay, well, we'll take your word for it. Thank you, Mike. Next email is from David Gornto of Knoxville, Tennessee. Esteemed gentleman and fabulous lady. Hi. First, thank you for giving me
Where
that.
is she?
I don't know where she is.
Let's start a rumor. She quit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Play it backwards. She's dead. There's our Paul reference for the day.
She's
Go ahead.
the walrus, yeah.
Yeah, cuckoo choo.
First, thank you for giving me that Disney fix I need consistently. I have a couple of questions for you. As a teacher, my time goes to Disney are usually limited to the busier times of the year. When do you suggest as the best time? I've always wanted to do Thanksgiving there and have a 5-day weekend this year for this time frame. Is this a good time to go, or would summer, Christmas break, or spring break be better times to go to Walt Disney World?
Christmas break would be the worst.
What about
Summer's not bad.
You think Thanksgiving is worse than those times?
Thanksgiving is worse than summer, yeah, because it's a more concentrated set of crowds, right? Mm-hmm. Thanksgiving, you've got 5 days, right? 4 or 5 days,
right?
5, 6 days. Summer, you've got 104. If Phineas and Ferb are correct, you've got 104 days of summer vacation, on which to spread out the crowds. And if that's my source, and I'm sticking to it, by the way. So you can go in early June or late August and get much lower crowds than you'll see at Thanksgiving.
Scopy, you might know the answer to this. Are there any discounts for teachers that you're aware of?
The only discounts that I know of is Swan and Dolphin, one of those two.
Yeah.
Offers. That's about it. I don't know of any other. As far as admission, I'm not aware of any. Nope.
But those are pretty good discounts.
Well, then someone tell Annette to stop giggling. Next email is from Carrie. It's from
Underwood?
Carrie. It's from Carrie. Writes, here's my question. I've always gone in May, and my family, husband and children ages 8 and 12, of course, by the time you read this answer, they'll probably be 16 and 20, are considering an anniversary trip in late September. How are crowds this time of year, and is it still hurricane season?
Hold on.
Oh my God. Yes, it's still hurricane season.
In September.
Late September.
God.
Late September, and I really should be back at school. Anyone get that? Listeners, please post what that quote is from.
How are the crowds in late September, Len?
Dead. Deader than a dead doornail. It's ones and twos in the crowd calendar for 2011.
Okay.
Perfect time to go.
Also-
and they're starting Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in September then, so that's a good time to go too.
Also, I'm trying to recreate the most magical Disney experience we've had by being in one of the parks early before they open by booking an early breakfast in one of the parks. My daughter is now too old for the Princess Breakfast in Epcot, and my son is no longer interested in the Playhouse Disney Breakfast in Hollywood Studios. So what other options are good for in-park early breakfast? Is Donald's Breakfast in Animal Kingdom any good? How about Crystal Palace? Do they do breakfast? We'll be doing this in September of 2011, and that will be a week before our 10th anniversary.
I like them both, but I think 10th anniversary just screams out Magic Kingdom, doesn't it?
If Hollywood Studios is not available, sure.
Well, they said it's the choice between the Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And Matt, you're recommending Hollywood and Vine?
No, they can't go there anyway.
Oh,
You
If it
can't
wasn't
go
available.
there.
Ever since the incident.
I would say Crystal Palace over Donald's Breakfast.
I think so too. Although
Yeah.
I like them both, but and my God, they're dead expensive. And the Animal Kingdom is going to be slightly less expensive, I think. But
Is Donald's Breakfast the one that's in Tusker House? Is that the same one?
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
I really like the food over there. It's just I think that as a park, it's not going to be quite as magical as the quote Magic Kingdom.
Plus Crystal Palace, you pop out of there and you're right at the castle, so perfect photo opportunity for you guys.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that for a 10th anniversary trip, I think that's where you need to go.
Next email is from Amanda from Willoughby, Ohio. First, I just started listening to your show and love it. I have 3 quick questions for you. Can you book a flight not using Disney's website and still get access to the Magical Express? And how would you go about it if it's possible? Yes.
Yes.
Call Disney or your travel agent.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could book it through like, MEI Mouse Fan Travel, our sponsor. You could book it, through any travel agent or even like an Expedia.com or something like that. And you'll still be able to do. The only people, even DVC owners can get it, right, Mike?
Yeah, you have to call. We have to call member services, and what you do is you give them your flight numbers, your flight information,
Yep.
and they will put it in the system. Somehow they're connected to the airlines, and then they put all the information right into the system.
It's magic, whatever it is.
Oh, Len, by the way,
There's no way to express it.
Maggie May.
Nice, thank you, Newell.
I think you should say thank you, Google.
It took no, it took a little while,
Oh, no, he got
Okay,
that.
got it. All right, good for
but
you.
I'm a '70s baby.
It's
Of course,
something to say to me.
Number 2, I have read that it may be better to purchase a dining plan once on property because it's cheaper or you maybe get a better deal. Is this true? No.
yeah,
No, you don't get a better deal, and if you book through Expedia, you won't be able to get the
right.
you won't, or through it's anyone other than Disney. You have to book through Disney, right, or the Disney travel agents.
Right.
Yeah, to get the deal. You can't go.
I think that's the case in Universal. I believe their thing is cheaper on the day of because when you go to Universal, I always see those people outside that are like, hey, buy the dining plan.
Get your dining plan here.
Evidently, they're all from the
I got
Bronx.
2.
And lastly, I have a family going to Disney in September, and they're unsure of where to eat. Can you recommend your top 5 restaurants that they may enjoy? They are 2 middle-aged adults, no kids in the party.
Welcome back.
All right, Scopa, this is you, big boy. Put it all on your shoulders.
Let's go.
Thanks. top 5, huh?
Top
Okay.
5. No kids.
Tusker House.
Okay.
That's where the walruses eat. Get it? Tusker House would be number 1. The second one would be. Oh boy, things have been changing.
Where in the studios would you eat?
I think we should hum the Jeopardy theme song to him.
Kona Cafe is number 2.
If you'd like to have your own energy nightmare, send a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Boma, number 3.
3, 2 to go.
2 to go. Wow. Yak and Yeti.
Okay. 4.
1 more to go. Wow. That's a good question.
And to answer your question, Len, in the
There's
studios,
108 restaurants in Walt Disney World.
I know, but you know,
5?
hey, this is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure,
to answer your question, Len, by the way, in the studios, Mama Melrose, really good.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was giving him a hint. I was giving him a hint.
Like, Mama
Hey,
knows.
you know why I like Mama Rollers? Because they play David Lee Roth in the background.
That's right. California girls.
Exactly.
East Coast. Girl.
You know, it's kind of interesting they chose that version and not the Beach Boys version.
And you know why?
What's it, Brian Wilson a jerk?
Number 5, Trails End. Thank you very much.
There you go. What's the reason why they don't have Beach Boys there, Len?
Because David's the Roth's version is better.
Oh, of course.
Boozy bozy bop.
You know, you're semi-good looking. Best pickup line ever. Next email is from Mike from Voorhees, New Jersey. Had a pleasant ride back from Florida. I went coach on the auto train and had a great dinner as well. Baked cod and Asian short ribs were on the menu that night. Would recommend it highly.
Ooh.
Amtrak provided fruit and snacks at night, plus free hot chocolate and coffee, as well as a movie in the lounge that night. Coach seats are great, yet hard. Nice size too. Wide with leg rests and footrests. They are like airplane business class at least. Here's a tip though. In coach level, take a stadium seat cushion. My seat was a little hard for sleeping. Also, take eye covers. Overall,
Cover. Oh, I got it.
yeah, like a whatever you call them.
Yeah, I got it.
Overall, it seemed like a great deal. I booked in advance and the prices were very reasonable, but I have a question for Mike Newell. For sleeper cars, did you have a seat as well or just the bed? Was the lounge car your only seat, so to speak, or could you wander to coach if you wanted to?
In the sleeper, it starts off as and I had the what's called a roomette, which sits two. So it starts off as two seats back to facing each other. And then what happens is the attendant would come in during the evening and change it into a bed and bring down the upper berth. So if you had two people, you'd have two beds. No, in fact, I usually have him come or her come to do the bed setup while I'm at dinner. So I usually take the last seating of dinner, and then when I get back, I have a bed.
There you go. Question for Len. Auto train tips from the good book?
We have a couple. I think Bob's a huge fan of the train, so I think we've got some in the latest edition of the guide. It's something that we're looking to expand on, though. Maybe not on the guide, but on the website, because it's popular with a lot of people. I really liked traveling by train when I did it in the UK. I haven't done it yet in the US. I'm looking for opportunities to do it though somewhere up and down the East Coast.
Sure. Next email is from Wesley in Ohio. My wife's family is having a reunion next year in 2011 during Thanksgiving week at Walt Disney World. The whole family will be staying off-site at vacation rentals. I don't know if we'll be at allstarvacationhomes.com or not. Here's my question. Is there any benefit to staying off-site during the busiest time of the year? Since we're not staying at a Walt Disney World resort, we can't take advantage of extra magic hours, right? Right. Plus, Fantasyland and Star Tours should be closed at that point, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Which says 2011. By 2011, Star Tours will be open again. Fantasyland will still be going. During the last family Thanksgiving reunion a few years ago, we used touringplans.com with great success at the Magic Kingdom, but less success at Epcot. I guess what I'm asking is whether I should attempt to convince my wife to make an additional trip before next Thanksgiving, or, barring that, how we can make the most of our time during a very crowded time of the year. So, Len, not only touring during the off season, but what about staying off property?
I like the idea of staying off property. Hannah and I do that. Have done it occasionally. When we've gone during Christmas and we need last minute reservations, there's absolutely no problem with it. And the main reason why there's no problem with it is the parks are opening up early anyway, an hour early, and granted it'll open 2 hours before normal, so it'll open like 7 a.m. for morning extra magic hours. But so few people are there at 7 a.m. and frankly they're kind of lax about enforcing the extra magic hour rule then, that you can get in within 30 minutes of the park opening up to almost anyone. It's really not a problem at all. It's going to be equally hard for people on site to get dining reservations. It's going to be equally hard for them to park. The transportation is going to be clogged. Really, if the big advantage is you're just saving a ton of money off site. Last year it was you guys have heard my story about staying at the Purple Hotel, the Magic Castle Inn and Suites. Oh yeah, for $53 a night during the week between Christmas and New Year. And actually, my goal when I go down there is to not spend more than $50 a night on a hotel in the week between Christmas and New Year. And every year lately, because of the economy, I've been able to get closer and closer to Walt Disney World on these hotels. Some of them actually come with continental breakfast for $50 a night, whereas Disney's charging around $200 a night. And over the course of a week, that's a lot of money.
Well, what's the? I was going to say that the obviously if you're staying off site, you're going to have a longer commute time. But then I was thinking, like, what's the worst commute time you think from one of the Disney resorts to one of the parks, like Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom or something like that? Like,
it's got to be Saratoga Springs to Magic Kingdom, and that's a good 30 minutes or so. And from with that, it's 35. with that, you can actually go from, pretty much any hotel on iDrive to the Magic Kingdom parking lot. Now, granted, you won't get across on the monorail or anything, but if you time it right, you're only going to be 5 or 10 minutes behind that if you leave early enough in the morning. So you're going to save a ton of money, have a better hotel room, probably, and only inconvenience yourself by 5 or 10 minutes a day versus staying at some of the most remote places in Walt Disney World property.
Cool. Next email is from Brian from Terrytown, New York. BRRSLER on the boards. BR wrestler. Anyway, not really a question. I just wanted to share a story with you. I recently downloaded the Mouse World Radio app for iPhone, and I've been listening to it nonstop on my rather long commute each day, and have developed a habit of singing along and reciting the lines to all the attractions. Don't pretend like you don't. On one particular day, I couldn't bring myself to turn it off. I popped the headphones on and continued to listen to on my walk from the parking lot to the hospital where I'm currently a student. Well, I was listening to Muppet Vision pre-show, and my nasty habit kicked in. Unfortunately, the potential patient who was walking behind me couldn't really understand why I suddenly shouted out of the blue, "Hey, why did the chicken cross the road?" And then started clucking to get to the other side. It was at this point that they made eye contact. He clearly decided his medical issue could wait and that this was not the right place for him as he hopped back into his car and drove away.
Oh, he did not. That's too funny.
Keep up the great work.
That is too funny. And I take the Terrytown train. I'll probably run into him singing it one day.
Look for the guy singing Muppet Vision pre-show stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, time for our last question of the day. I'll give Mr. Newell 3 emails to choose from. 1 gets read today. The other 2 go back into the email queue to be answered later. Are you ready, Mike?
Yeah.
Your options are, I'm not waking up unless we're going to the Magic Kingdom. Oh, Canada, you massive LOL.
Nice.
Will they yell at us?
Let's do the will they yell at us.
Yeah,
we've all been in that situation.
Last email of the day.
It's called a maelstrom.
I have a question regarding sit-down dining. For our trip in November, my parents, my fiance's parents, and my fiance and I will be in Walt Disney World together. My fiance's parents and my fiance and I are on the regular dining plan, but my parents are not. I thought it would be nice if we all shared one sit-down meal together. If we were all to eat at a sit-down restaurant, would there be a problem if I shared my entree with my mother? I can never eat the whole thing. And my parents, not on the dining plan, only ordered something small like an appetizer or a soup or salad. Neither of my parents are big eaters, which is why they are not doing the dining plan. I know that the server can separate out of the bills for multiple dining plans, and I'm thinking they would be able to place the small items ordered by my parents who wouldn't be on the dining plan a separate bill. I just wasn't sure if they would give us a problem if they saw us sharing food.
Yeah, the worst case is they'll give you a plate charge or a sharing charge for one of the meals, $5 or whatever. But they'll be fine with it.
I've never heard anybody getting in trouble like that for anything like that, so I wouldn't worry at all. I say go for it.
Yeah, it's on the menu. It's probably printed on the menu that there is a sharing charge. I just don't know if it's ever enforced.
Yeah, if you went to
Victoria,
like Victoria and Albert's, right? Exactly. You went to one of those.
Citricos,
Yeah. If you go to Beer Garden or Beer Garden's a bad example because you're paying regardless.
Yeah,
if you're going to like Nine Dragons, okay, no one's going to care. No one's going to. They'll be like, thank God, people. It'll look like it's packed in here. So not a problem at all. Well, that does it for us today. Don't forget this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And just from the show alone, you can learn a lot from what MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can do for you. They can help you book your Magical Express offerings. They can help you book your dining reservations. And not only that, they can help you with lots of other things like getting the best deal on your trip, figuring out which plans are the best for you, answering all of your questions. And the best part, there's no fee for you. They're a no fee agency. That's right.
How much is the fee?
$0.
Wow.
Zero?
That's right. Even Crazy Larry would be impressed by these prices.
Hello, it's Crazy Larry here.
That's not bad.
So check them out online at www.mousefantravel.com.
Thanks, I've been working on it. Look me up before they lock me up.
That's it. That's it for us today. One of our older episodes.
That's great.
Read our show notes, send us your comments. Visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Lantesta, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Don't forget Crazy Larry. Crazy.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.